Hey everybody, happy Tuesday training. It is the 2nd of March. Exciting things happening. Let's see if I can drink this without spilling it down the front of me. Success. All right, task 1. Check it off. We are going to talk today about onboarding. And if you're not familiar with the term onboarding, hello, Heather. If you're not familiar with that term, basically it's either like you yourself, you're joining, you're getting to know things, you're just getting started, or you have sponsored a team member and they're getting started. So onboarding is kind of like the startup process. So however you want to look at it, whether it's for yourself or for your newer team members, or somebody that you're even talking to now. Because if you haven't yet sponsored your first team member, this is your chance. It just means that you haven't yet, right? So you haven't yet, but you will. And so what you want to do is set yourself up for success and be prepared when that happens. This month in particular, we are working towards, we just had the new incentive announced, right? So part of that incentive happens to include a sponsoring portion. So if you are working towards that incentive, which like we talked about yesterday, I hope every single one of you are, because every single one of you can at least earn level 1. You're gonna have somebody join. So I think that this is a really good time just to make sure that for those of you who this might be your first person who joins, and those of you maybe it's not your first, but you're like, I don't have a system in place, this is the video for you, okay? First and foremost, as we talk about the incentive, make sure that you have your incentive tracker, okay? This will be going to YouTube, but for those of you here in the group, on Facebook, check the Google Drive. You will see that this one you can get from the workstation. But hello, Ashley. You can also, on the Google Drive, I have uploaded another tracker as well. So you can keep track of what you're doing. We're visual creatures. We just are, at least I certainly am. And so if something looks pretty, if it's something I can color or write on or be interactive with or look at, then that's more positivity that I'm actually going to do said thing. So that's just kind of how it works. So I think that it's a really great thing to have a tracker. But if you're not a tracker person, if that's just, you're like, no, that's not for me, I don't care, write it on a Post-it note and stick it on the bathroom mirror. That's fine too. Just have it somewhere so you can kind of be watching. So let's talk about sponsoring. When we talk about systems, right, in your business, these are just the things that kind of like, look at them like, I'm trying to think of like a really good analogy, and I don't have one off the top of my head, so I'm just going to use the one that I think of in my head. So basically, like, everything in my business is like the library, okay? I walk in and I see the books on the shelves. Each book is a system to me, okay? So, for example, maybe I want to work on my sales this month. I'm going to pick up that PRV book, right? And I want to look through my systems. And I've got in my systems, right, how I do online parties, or any personal specials I might be running, or, you know, if there's big sales going on, limited time offers, things like that. How am I getting the word out about those? How am I working that into my business all the time, right? Another system, so another book on the shelf is all about sponsoring, and that is having those conversations, and also not just having the conversations, but what do you do when someone joins, right? So having the steps laid out for yourself. Hello, Terry. Good afternoon, my dear. Having those steps laid out for yourself can really not only save you a lot of time, but save you a headache and maybe some potential stress or anxiety. You guys, I am just a creature that is filled with anxiety, and I tell my husband a lot, right? You're welcome, because I overthink overthink everything. And I did it all night last night just for you. So I'm somebody who will overthink myself into a corner. And if I don't like put my blinders on and focus into what I'm doing, I will just think up all these hundreds of different scenarios all the time of how to do it, what I should be doing. Is that good enough? When I responded to her, did that sound right? Right? Like all those things happen to me. And maybe you can relate to that. Maybe you can't. And you're way more organized than I am. So I salute you. But I am not. So I have to make sure that my squirrel keeps running on that little treadmill every day, right? So making sure that I have my systems in place is a really good way for me to calm all of that, and also make sure that I'm not missing anything, because, right, things happen, life happens, things come up, and you may probably do most days, right, get busy, or you get caught up in what's going on with the kids, or at your job, or with the house, whatever, right? Things happen, and so we can get derailed, but being able to come back and know where to pick up is essential. And it's going to save you a lot of time, a lot of headache, a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety, if you're anything like me. So this is where your book of systems is going to come into play. So when we talk systems, if that analogy helps you of the bookshelf, right? Think of it like that, okay? That's a really simple way for me to explain it, is that's my book. So today we're picking up kind of where we left off last month, right? In February, our focus was on sponsoring. In March, we're kind of taking it like to the next chapter, the next level. And that is more or less when someone joins, okay? And how things look for them in their first 70 days. The reason that we look at that first 70 days is for a new consultant, for somebody who has just joined. Of course, that is their sensational start period. And that is when they have the opportunity to earn those exclusive awards at the beginning, right? Shooting star, sensational start, whether it's level 1, 2, or 3. Okay. Those are the time periods that they can earn those. It's the only time period you can earn those. So for those who start, that's their goal, right? Amanda, speaking of sponsoring, everybody give Amanda some congratulations. She's sponsored a new team member today, and she's got more that she's talking to right now. She is an amazing resource when it comes to sponsoring. But we want to focus on how to best serve our team members, right? We talk about servant leadership. We talk about customer service, how we're serving our customers. We also want to think about how we're serving those people that are joining our team. We want to make sure that we are giving them all the tools and resources that they want or need, okay? Now, everybody has a different why for why they join Scentsy, right? Maybe it's a hobby. Maybe it's to get some extra income. Maybe eventually they want this to be full-time income, right? Whatever their why is going to determine what they need from you as their sponsor. So being able to have that bookcase there where you can pull your book out and go, okay, so I see that you're just a hobbyist and that's cool. You just want to do this. You want to get paid on the purchases you're already going to make. That's awesome. Let me give you some ideas on how you can best do that, right? So those would be the people that you're really going to talk to about consultant perks, right? A consultant perk is something that is exclusive to us as consultants. That would be your scent or warmer of the month. It's a huge discount. Hello, okay? It's a huge discount, plus it adds PRV. We all know, hopefully, all of the benefits. There's also a post this morning that I made in the group for a lot of the benefits of enrolling in Scent and Warmer of the Month, so you can refer back to that. But those are the people who that's going to be really important to them, right? If it's just a hobby, then hello, they have a way to be able to get some Scentsy at a really great discount and or resell it if they choose. And also, you want to make sure that they know about Scentsy Club, because if they're joining to be a hobbyist or just to get paid on the Scentsy that they're already buying, they're fans, okay? So you want to make sure that as fans, they got a front row seat, right? You're at the floor level at Madison Square Garden watching the game. So you want to make sure that they know when new things come out, where do they go to look? Do they go to the news tab? Please say yes. Tell them that you're telling them to go to the news tab. You are. Okay. They're checking into their workstation at least once a week. If this is just a hobby, just once a week, check in, right? Because who knows when a limited time offer is going to drop out of the sky on us, right? A Sebastian or a Lady in the Tramp. Who knows when these things are going to happen? We want them to be able to know, because that's one of the perks of being a consultant, is knowing. So knowledge is power. We want them to have the power that they choose. And if that's the power they're choosing, that's where they need to go, along with that Scent Worm of the Month and Scentsy Club, so they know that they can get their favorites, right? And utilize that Always Get My Bar plus the 10% discount if they do $30 or more. And if they're getting $60 or more, they also get a half price item through Scentsy. That's all through Scentsy Club. That's not even hosting parties, okay? So that's what we're talking about for our hobbyists, for our team members who are joining as hobbies. Happy Tuesday, Miss Lisa. And those who are joining, whether it's for part-time income, supplemental income, or full-time income, those are the people that you want to make sure are truly dialed into the resources. Number one, first and foremost, is making sure that they know how to log into their workstation. Okay. When I send out a welcome to Scentsy email, right? When that's someone who has that I have personally sponsored, or that my frontline. So if I'm your sponsor, then I will also send to your new people as they join, right? And in that welcome email, one of the very first lines is how to log into your workstation, because that is first and foremost, hopefully, what they need to know, right? Because that workstation, that's our livelihood, right? And even if they don't, for the first 3 months, you want to make sure that they realize that they do get their PWS or their personal website free for the first 90 days. So for the first 3 months, they don't have to pay for their website. They can have people going and shopping on it, right? That's also the only way that somebody can join your team, okay? So if they're here for income, you want to make sure they know about that. And because after those 90 days, then it's that $10 fee. It is important to have a website if you're working this for income. It just is. Because in order to get that income, you need people to have a place to shop online. It's 2021, people. If you're not with the program, people shop online. They just do. They do shop in person with us too, but honestly, first and foremost, they're usually either using the online store or the online website /store, shopping link, whatever you want to call it, right? To see what's available, to know what's available, see how much it is, learn more about the product, right? Even if they do come to you and say, hey, will you order me XYZ, right? They've at least got an idea of what's happening. So having that website is really going to be essential for those consultants. And, Ashley, we're here for you, my dear. We're here for you. So the website is going to be something that they're going to want to try and make an investment out of, right? And everybody's way of looking at that is different, but I truly think that if you're in this to make any kind of money, you have to do it. You just have to. It's $10 a month. It's less than Netflix, people. It's less than Netflix to have your own website. And like I said, a lot of our, for one, the ability to join is only going to be done through your website. And also some of the limited time offers that come out, or specials or deals that Scentsy offers, are only available through your website. So there are reasons that you want to have that, and you just want to make sure that they're aware of those things. That's why it's so important in that letter that I send out. And again, that letter that I send out is part of my system, just so you know. It's in the book. Okay, it's in the book. The other thing that you want to make sure that you're letting them know of is those first-time awards that they can earn, right? Shooting Star, Sensational Star. So making sure that either even if it's just sending them a flyer, or you're tagging them in the groups on Facebook where the information for those are, or if you're giving them a call and having a discussion, or maybe they're local to you and you can meet up, you can show them, this is what you're aiming for, right? These are your goals. That's That's right, Amanda. No, she's in for a whole new world. It's going to be an Aladdin moment for her. A whole new world is joining this team, and everything's going to fall into place for her because she's got amazing resources. For one, she's got great sponsor and you, and this group, we've got a great culture of leaders and helpers here. So we are going to make sure that nobody falls and falls underneath those cracks. So, but we want to make sure they know what their initial goals are as a consultant, right? So just like we're working towards this incentive, being able to give them something that is like this is also going to help them as well. Remember, the first rule of thumb that I go to when I'm working with someone or coaching someone is if it helped me, I want to make sure that I at least tell them about it because it very well may help them. That's a huge thing, right? You have to really put back your I'm a new team member glasses on and think back when I just joined Scentsy, what are the things that either I wish somebody had told me, or I wish I knew then, or I wish I would have done this, right? Have those conversations with yourself. Write some notes, start brainstorming. What are the things that you're like, oh yeah, that was right. I wish I had known about that. Make yourself a little checklist. You can do it on Canva if you need help with Canva. Miss Kimber is amazing at it. The first things first checklist is another valuable resource. All new consultants get that when they join now, which is awesome. Something I didn't have when I joined. Scentsy didn't do that for me, so I had to do it on my own. But I'm old school. I joined in 2012. Things were way different then. But if you, whether you're pointing them to that first things first checklist, or you've got something of your own that you've made up, or something that you found beneficial, share it with them. Okay, hopefully those are resources that they'll be able to really touch base with and really latch onto, because that's truly what it boils down to. Just like the like, no, trust factor, right? They have to feel comfortable in how they're going to work their business. Remember, there's no one way to work this business. There's thousands of ways to work this business. You can work it however you want. They can work it however they want. So it doesn't have to look like yours. It can look different. So maybe they do have different ways to do it. Maybe you're not the tech person or the app person. Maybe they are. That's okay that you're not. You don't have to be just to be able to help them learn, right? You just have to know, again, where are my resources for those things? So again, it's kind of like giving them the teacher's notes of the class test, right? Here's where I go if I want to know more about these things. Here's where I go if I want to know about these things. So you tell them, this is where I go. So if you have those questions and I can't answer them for you, I want to make sure you know where to go. So pointing them in the direction of everywhere is going to be key. Yes, Amanda's got a dream team going. And I love it. I love it. The dream team is happening. It is real. So these systems are great ways that Amanda's going to grow as a leader and how you all are going to grow as leaders, because these are things that you're going to have, and you're going to create these systems that way every single time you sponsor a new team member. Same thing. You just roll it out. You give them the onboarding guide, right? Here you go. These are the things you're going to need to know. Let's touch base at some point. That's also another good thing to do, is to start creating like a touch point. And I try. Sometimes it's hard. We have a tendency as Scentsy consultants to get really excited about a lot of things, right? Kimber. We get so excited, whether it's about products, whether it's about this business, whether it's like, oh my gosh, I just had my first team member join, right? We get so excited, and that's awesome, and that's great, and that's how it should be. But sometimes we have a tendency, because we're so excited, to almost like word vomit everything to them, right? And for that new person joining, that can be like, whoa, pump your brakes. I'm not quite ready for like level 10, right? I'm just down here on level 1. Can I just figure out the workstation for a second? Some people, though, are completely opposite, and they're like, yeah, give it all to me on day 1. I want it all, right? I'm going to the top. That's awesome too. But for most people, we don't want to overwhelm them when they're first starting. So giving them things in stages is really going to be your best rule of thumb for onboarding, right? Because again, it's not going to overwhelm them. They're going to feel more comfortable and confident because in order to kind of move and grow a business and to start planting the seeds for that business, right, they have to feel comfortable and they have to have confidence in themselves. So if they have 5,000 things thrown at them on the very first day that they join, how in the heck do they know where to start? Trust me, most of them, if not all of them, won't. Either they'll back up and say, well, this was way over my head. What have I just gotten myself into? And they'll pull back. Or they'll be like, I can't process all of this. I don't even know where to start. And they'll shut down, right? Like computer screen goes black. We have to keep these things in mind. So having those systems and making sure that you are really focusing on stepping it out for them, right? Have those steps ready. So maybe you set things up on a week by week basis, right? On their first week as a Scentsy consultant, I send them these things. On the second week, I do this. On the third week, I do this. And then usually within the first month is where I try and make that touch point, whether that's a phone call, whether it's texting, email, whatever, right? I try and have that touch point because by that time, I hope that those new team members have either looked at their workstation, maybe even some of them, hopefully, have done a few orders or done one party or something to that effect, right? And so it's really just more or less answering questions at that point because they've had time to do different things. So now they have questions that need to be answered. And it's a really good time period to be able to come in and say, okay, I see you've done this. I see you've placed an order. How did that go? Did you have issues finding things? Oh, you did? Well, here's a better way to do that, right? This is where leading and coaching really comes center stage, okay? And being a good leader, being a good coach, hey, Roxy, being a good leader and being a good coach is really something that is going to set you apart. It really, really is. That's okay, Ashley. Hey, that is okay because your customers are going to love you for you. So you make sure that they're getting your personal touch, okay? Nobody can do you like you. So just remember that. Being a coach and getting them, like I said, stepping them into things slowly but consistently, okay? Because the overwhelming part of being a consultant, it can turn people off and it can discourage people. One of the things that I really am grateful for within this business, and I think we talked about this on one of the, whether it was the brainstorming or another Zoom, maybe it was the happy hour, was simply the fact that there is such a sense of community and you really build up a really great confidence in yourself as you grow into your Scentsy business. And that is one of the best things I personally have gotten out of being a Scentsy consultant is the fact that I believe in myself. And that's something that I, for years, never really had and never really did. And so Scentsy has been able to help me pull that magic out and be able to have that really become my voice. And that's something that is priceless to me, right? Like I would have spent $299 if that's what it had been for me to join, knowing that this is what I get out of it in the end. So that can be a really important part for people. So you want to make sure that if they're here for community and to know that this community and this culture that we've built exists, these are the ways that you can clue them in, right? You've got to make sure that they have the Facebook groups. And if you've got your own group, that's awesome. Make sure they're in yours specifically if they're your team member, right? First and foremost. And then if I'm your director or your star director or your upline, I always offer up my Scent 365 tribe group, right? Like I always say, it's for you guys. It's not for me. It has nothing to do with me. It's all about you guys. So it's got resources in there. And then, of course, the Scented Bliss group. We've got that as well with a lot of different resources. Then, of course, there's the workstation with the training center and all of that, right? So making sure that they understand that these communities exist. Did you guys know that every single Tuesday, Scentsy does a Scentsy corporate training? Happens every single Tuesday. It's on a different topic. It is always done well, sometimes Scentsy themselves will do the training, but normally they will pull a leader, whether it's a director or above, and they will come on and they will share about a topic and talk about a topic every single week. So that is just another resource that, again, they don't always have to hear from the same people all the time, right? People will connect with different people, and that's okay. You have to realize that as a sponsor and as a leader and as a coach, right? That it's okay if they connect with somebody else as long as they're getting the information they need. So that's fine. And if that's how they learn best, then that's how they learn best. We are here for support. We are here to help. We are here to guide. We are here to cheer people on, right? That's what we do with our team. And that's really essentially what it boils down to. You want to make sure that they've got the workstation. They know where the resources are, including those Facebook groups. You also want to make sure that they are aware of some of the do's and the don'ts of Scentsy, right? So I am not a big person who goes into a lot of explanation or a lot of trainings on compliance, simply because I am not here as a compliance officer, okay? So really, you want to just touch on like the main points. If they have specific questions, that's when they can reach out to you as their sponsor or an upline director, or they can reach out directly to Scentsy. And Scentsy actually prefers that, not that they want everybody, emailing and calling every single day, but at the end of the day, they want to make sure that we as consultants truly understand the compliance and what we can and can't do, specifically when it comes to social media. Right? We all know, those of us who have been consultants for a while, that there's some things we can do and there's some things we can't do, right? There's FTC violations that we have to make sure, right? That's why we have to make sure whenever we're talking on social media about income or money, that we have to make sure that we're putting that income disclosure there. That's not a Scentsy rule. That's an FTC rule, right? That's a government rule that we just happen to follow because Scentsy's good people like that. We just are. And so that's something that we make sure that we put in if we're doing a post about income, right? We got to put the income disclosure. I just really touch base on those top level points. And that's all really you need to do as well. You don't have to be too in depth with it. And you can always address issues if you see them or if they have questions about them. And when in doubt, ask your upline director or ask Scentsy directly. Like I said, Scentsy is much happier if they can help you understand or help your team member understand and talk with it through them to let them know the why behind it as well. Sometimes there's things that we don't personally know the why of, but Scentsy does, and they have no problem helping us understand that. So again, just another fabulous resource. Part of your systems, hopefully, as you're building a system for sponsoring and onboarding, is making sure that you are having a connection and a relationship with your team members, okay? So if you haven't already created a team page or a group page on Facebook, I would encourage you to do so. If you don't want the hassle, or if that's too much for you, again, 1,000 different ways to work this business. It's not a requirement. You do not have to have a group. At least have maybe a Facebook chat that you guys talk in, or even if it's a text chain that you utilize. There's apps like Marco Polo. You can send messages back and forth on Instagram, right? However it is, right? Just find some way to open up a line of communication, even if it's through email. But find those open lines of communication, because you're going to want to touch base with your team members, especially those working it as a business, on that weekly or monthly basis, right? Because again, you're making sure that they're doing the things and planting the seeds for their own business. As a leader, you need to make sure that they know what they need to do in order to hit those first time goals, right? Shooting star, sensational start. But also placing those first orders, right? Doing a party. How do the host rewards work? You don't have to recreate the wheel either. I'm not telling you guys to recreate the wheel. If you choose to do so, that's great. That's awesome. But you don't have to. Scentssy's done it for us. You guys don't overthink your systems either. That's something that I got tripped on for a long time. is I thought that I had to create everything. And so I was always giving myself busy work to do, right? I need to create this. I need to create this. I need this to be created, right? Because it needs to have me in it. Well, it doesn't necessarily have to have me in it just so my team members can get trained up, right? The training center in the workstation, they've got videos and PDF files and images and whatever on every single topic you can imagine when it comes to Scentsy. You don't have to recreate those wheels unless you choose to, okay? So if they need help entering in a party, if they're not close or if it's not easy for you to talk them through it, here's a quick video. Go to your training center, get the link of that video for them, and shoot it to them in a text or in an email or in a message. That's a super quick and easy way. They're really short. They're not long, 45-minute long videos, right? That they got to sit through. It's like a 3 to 5 minute video that shows them, literally shows them where they need to go and how they need to do it on their workstation. So don't feel like you got to do that. You can just show them the resource, okay? So keep those resources in your back pocket, or rather in your sponsoring book, right? And have those at the ready. So that way when those questions do come up, you're already ready with an answer or a resource for them, right? I'm all about having the tools in your tool belt. So the more tools that you can put in your tool belt, the more systematic, in a good way, this is going to become for you, okay? So if you're a busy person, is anybody else out there busy? I'm busy. I know you're busy, right? We're all busy. So you don't necessarily have time every single day to sit for an hour and show someone how to do this, or this is how I do fundraisers, or blah, 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 right? You can make time for that. And that's when we have like coaching calls or accountability calls, whatever you want to call them, right? And where you sit down, you either have a phone call or a FaceTime or a whatever, face-to-face with that person and go over things, right? You can have those. But to be able to just have touch points, right? That's really where you want to put your focus, because you're not going to have time to do that every single day. And honestly, if you do, you're going to find yourself burning out as a leader and as a consultant, right? Because you're going to feel like you are literally running in place all day long. Been there, done that. And I realized I needed a system for it. So I created systems. Again, it's just resources. And then there's other ways, right, that we work smarter, not harder, right? So if you find that you are sending people the same information every single time, maybe you sit down in Canva and you make up a one-page document with all that stuff on it. Maybe you utilize, which I do personally, I use Google Docs and I create docs or documents of that information. So when that happens, all I have to do is go into my Google Docs, copy, paste, boom. And then of course, if I need to add in or change little pieces, I can. But it doesn't sit down, I don't have to sit down for like 20 minutes to figure out an email of what I want to say, or how do I tell them how to get to here, or how do I tell them how to do this? You have those resources, utilize them, and be able to give them when they arise. Yes, definitely, Roxy, definitely. Having these has been, and Google Docs for me, like I said, that is truly, I really lean on my Google Docs a lot. Simply because I have been doing this for a while and I have sponsored a lot of team members, and I have had people who have rolled up to me either because their sponsor has stopped selling or has left or is just MIA, right? And so if I could sit down with 300 people every single day and answer everybody's questions, I would. But I have the same 24 hours a day that you do. So do you have time to do that? I don't, right? We don't have time to do that. So you have to set yourself up for success and make things easier for yourself, so you're not just running in place all day. So if that means utilizing Google Docs because you're answering questions about, how do I join, right? Then maybe write it out, save it in a Google Doc. And that's why it's so wonderful, is because you can access Google Docs from any device you are on. If I'm sitting at the computer in my office, I can go to Google Docs. If I'm on my phone, sitting on the couch, or at the doctor's office, or in the middle of the grocery store, and I'm waiting in line and I check my email and I'm like, oh, cool, somebody joined my team. Let me send them a welcome email. I can go to my Google Docs app, copy, paste into an email to them. Boom, that's done. So then when I get home or later on in the day when I'm working business, right, when I'm doing my business work, then I can catch up and follow up. But it's all about how I can set myself up so things are easy to grab and give. So I'm not constantly searching for them. I did the hide and seek for a long time, and it's not really any fun. And like I said, it will burn you out. So one of the things of being a good leader is knowing, right, how to take care of yourself. Just like they tell you in an airplane, right? In case of emergency, your oxygen mask will come down. If you have a minor or are a guardian or somebody needs help next to you, you have to put the mask on first yourself, because otherwise you can't take care of the person sitting next to you if you're not okay. You have to make sure you're okay first so you can help the others. Same goes for your team. Don't burn yourself out. Make sure you are scheduling downtime, family time. I want to play Animal Crossing time, right? I will schedule that time if I have to in a busy day, because simply for the fact of I need time to just shut off for like 10, 20 minutes. That way I can be good to move on when I've got like a whole bunch of Zooms lined up for the day that I'm doing. And it's like, I'm running around like a scarecrow, right? So I can't do that all the time. And you don't want to do it either. So find those ways that you can make those things easier. If Google Docs does it for you, it's great. Like I said, it's a wonderful resource. Try it out. I always say this: date an app, date a process, date a system. See how it works out for you. If it's not working, sorry, it's not you, it's me, right? It's not working for me because there's 100 different ways to work this. So if Google Docs isn't your jam, it's not your jam. Maybe writing it out on a Canva template and printing it out is your jam. Maybe it's a video that's your jam and you do the video, right? Whatever it is, and maybe it's a notebook, whatever, right? 100 different ways to do it. Just have it. Figure out what your jam is and then work along with it. And that way, you've got things when you need them. You've got things. I will say that one of the great things that we have in the culture that we've created is all of the training resources and all the opportunities for really being a part of the Scentsy world is, right? So, for example, here in our main group, right, with Tracy, we have, well, for one, you've got Tuesday trainings with me. You've also got, if you're in my group, then you've got the happy hours that we do every single Sunday, right? A chance to get together. We have monthly meetings, which this month happens to be tomorrow, right? So we've got that coming up tomorrow night. Your sponsor may also have things that they do once a week, every month, whatever, right? Make sure that they're aware of all the things happening. So if they find it easier or they are wanting to immerse themselves in this culture, we always say, right? If you surround yourself with like-minded people, that's where you're going to flourish. Because if you're surrounding yourself with people who have the same goals, the same wants and desires and dreams that you do, I want this to be a full-time income. I want to be able to get those $10,000 checks, right? I want. This is why I'm working this business. We need to surround ourselves with other people who are wanting the same thing, because we're going to push each other, we're going to help each other, and we're going to lift each other up when it's a bad day, a bad month, a bad week. We're going to be there to be those helpers, right? And let them know, hey, don't worry. I know it's dark right now, but there's light at the end of the tunnel. Been there, done that. We're going to get through this, and we'll get through it together. Again, establishing relationships with your team members is huge. I don't know how much more emphasis I can put on this. So, exclamation point. Period. Okay? There, I've said it. It's important. What I would encourage you guys to do, if you don't already, and maybe even if you do, maybe this is a good opportunity to go back and maybe refine or edit yourself, right? I always like to edit myself a lot of times because I have a lot of different logs and a lot of different fires, and sometimes I do have to edit down. That can happen too. Also, it leads to burnout. So again, self-care first. You got to take care of yourself. Can't pour from an empty cup. I want you to take some time to sit down with a notebook, with your pad, with your phone, whatever. And I want you to just start writing down the things that you wish you had had or that you did have that really helped you, right? Either way it goes, of just joining. What are those things? And writing those down, you're going to be able to then, it's going to really open up your eyes to go, okay, so if I'm just starting Scentsy today, what would I need to know? And then I want you to formulate that into a list. And maybe it looks like just a big checklist, right? That's fine too. It doesn't have to be a big email with a lot of words. It can be a checklist. Make it a checklist or an email or just a document. And then get that all together. Save it as a Google Doc or utilize the note feature on your phone, right? Or have a notebook or create in Canva a checklist or something fun like this, right? This is just an example. That's the incentive tracker. But you can create those things, and then that way you have them. So that way you've got one for yourself of, I'm going to make sure that I touch on this and this and this and this in this order. And one that you can give to your new team members when they join. Here's what you can do. If you want to do this, these are the things that you need to do. And these are the things that you need to learn more about. And here's how to plug into our team culture so you can surround yourself with the people who are on the same thinking as yourself. This is how we do things. This is the way. So I am also, because I love you all, I am going to upload later today a file that is from my systems of sponsoring, and it's my personal checklist. I'm going to upload that for you. So that way, if it works for you, awesome. If you need to tweak it to do what you need to do, then take my idea, right? And then put yourself onto it, right? And then make your own, right? Do a revised copy, right? So this is Kimber's revised copy. This is Lisa's revised copy, right? So that way it's more specific to you if you need it that way. But if you don't, if you just need this is the way, then that will be what you need. So you don't have to recreate the wheel. Okay, that's what I want to be able to give to you. So I'm going to make that and upload that today. I'm almost finished with it. So as soon as I finish it, I will get it uploaded to the group. So you have that. I will also put it on the Google Drive. So therefore, if you need to reference your team members to it, there is always a specific point where it is located because, yeah. Over the years, I have done things where I'm like, oh, I'm going to put all these documents in this folder on my computer, and I know, I'll know they're there. Do you know how many times that I've sat at my computer and gone, where the heck did I put this? Sometimes I will organize myself into a corner. I can do it. I'm so good at it. So I've been there and had those struggles. And it's nothing that you want to do, trust me. So it does not serve you to do it that way. So having that one-stop shop in like the Google Drive is a really great place. So just another reason, again, why I love Google Docs. So, I mean, this is not an ad, but I'm just going to say Google Docs. Google really organizes my life and gives me life because it's who my Wi-Fi is through too. So it helps me run my business in so many ways. All right, so hopefully this has given you some things to think about. If you don't already have a system for sponsoring, what does your sponsoring book look like? You need to start making sure that you've got your house in order, so to speak, right? Because company's coming. We are going to start having people join our team because first and foremost, we got an incentive. And of course, because we're also here building our teams and we're working towards income and paychecks over here, people. It's what we do. So these are the ways that you get to those places. So I want you to start working on that, and we will touch base. If you have questions, or if you need help, or if you're doing your own checklist, you're like, I don't need Jacqui, I got this. If you're doing your own, but you run into a question or you need something, hello, where's your resource? It is in the Facebook group. So post in the groups. If you need a bigger audience, reach out in the Scented Bliss group. Reach out in other Facebook groups that serve you, right? And when I say serve you, that means if you're in a Scentsy group out there that is very negative, leave. Please leave, because ain't nobody got time for the negativity and the drama in this world, okay? We got other things to do. We've got businesses to focus on, families to feed, and that's what we're doing over here, okay? So leave the negativity over there. There's no shame in leaving a group, okay? You don't have to give a reason why, you just leave. No means no, you just walk away. But feel free to ask in those other groups, because the more that you network with people and ask people, the more wide a selection you're going to have to be able to look at maybe a handful of different examples of how people do things and go, that one works for me. That one is totally not my style, right? And it will help you to find your voice and to find your style as a leader as you begin to grow your team. And it's very important, right? Finding your leader voice is a huge thing. It really speaks volumes to your character. And if you keep your mindset in the mindset of, we're here to change lives, we're here, and I tell everybody this, right? I build leaders. That's what my whole purpose is in this business, is to build leaders, okay? It's not just so Jacqui can be a leader. I'm here so everybody can be a leader, and that's what I want for everybody. So being able to do those things and to be a great resource is going to make you stand out above the crowd, and is going to give your team members the greatest start that they can get. And if it's something that maybe you've fallen short with, that's okay, right? You don't have to tell me, you don't tell your sponsor, you don't tell anybody, right? But you got to tell yourself. It's really a good practice, like I said earlier, to edit yourself, right? Maybe there's times where you're like, yeah, I just have not been very good when somebody joins and really making sure that I give them all the information they need, right? That's okay that you did that. That's how it's been going. But you now can change, right? You can now have that new perspective of, I need to get my house in order, right? So I got to clean up over here. So clean up, edit your book, make sure it has the things that you need. And like I said, this document hopefully will help you if you need a place to start. If you don't even have a book yet, then this is going to give you a good place to start. But we're going to start growing and growing and growing, you guys. So I want you to be prepared. And this is how you can be prepared. All right. That's what I got for you this week. I also am going to be sharing a video that I've been putting together about the workstation. So it's just things that I've gotten that have literally just been questions that I've been asked that I'm like, oh, I really need like a one place resource for all of these questions that I've been asked, instead of having to point them to all these different places, right? Hello, editing myself every day. So I want to compile all of the like things together. So I'm doing a really short video of that, and I will get that uploaded to my YouTube, and of course share it in the group as well. So again, you can use it as a resource. You can use it as a template to make your own resource and move along, and we will continue to grow. So everybody ready? Team Powers activate. We got this, okay? Let's go sponsor some people. Let's change some lives today. I know that you can do it. I know some of you are actively doing it. So let's keep it going. I love you all. Bye.